Since starting work as a home care assistant, I've noticed that communication is a very big part of the job, specifically strategic communication. And I wanted to make my video or oral presentation about how I believe that Habermas's theories on communication can help very much in the workplace, especially when dealing with other people, like, clients that I have in my work and the elderly and things like that. One specific moment that I had was with a client. Usually, if they decide that they want to cancel a situation, they will call my office and they will say, "Hey, I don't want so and so to come in today." And so the office will call me or text me and say, "Hey, your care coordinator just said that your client does not need your services today." Like every now and then though, it is a good, hour or an hour and a half drive from my house to my client's house because I'm a home care assistant. I go to their home so that way they won't have to go to a nursing home. So I take care of the home and things that they couldn't take care of by themselves. So I drove all the way down there only to have one of the family members come out and tell me, so and so is having a bad day and doesn't want you to be here. That automatically, I had to call my office as I do and tell her, what happened. And that ended up with my care coordinator getting somewhat ticked off because, it was a waste of my gas, it was a waste of my time when I didn't otherwise really have to be there. So the communication was somewhat mixed, especially in today's age with social media. You can call or text anyone at any time. And this misunderstanding, it did cost me a lot of gas. I wasn't really upset about it, but my office kind of was. So that faux pas, so to speak, in strategic communication could have definitely been handled better in several different circumstances, so to speak. My client did not communicate honestly with my office, so they were not able to communicate with me. One of my favorite readings that we've done so far has gone with Habermas's personal own experiences with the truth and communication about the truth, and whether it could be strategic communication on the part of someone wanting to accomplish something, or consensus oriented communication, which is telling the truth for the sake of the people. I've noticed that in my line of work, consensus oriented communication is very, very important because it's something that comes around to all of us. Like, if I just did not show up for work and clocked in and out every day, that would be strategic communication because I would be communicating to my office, but I would not be doing so honestly for the sake of my clients or my office, just my own sake because I wanted to be lazy. However, Habermas's theory of communication, oriented with the truth, how the truth helps everybody involved, including my clients, my office, myself, it's very important. And when my client did not communicate on behalf of the consensus, or me and my office, it caused me to waste a lot of gas. Usually I don't get in trouble at work very often, or I don't get clients in trouble at work, but that was just one instance of where, the truth was not told, communication was not held, and therefore things got a little messy at the office. It is simple things like that that just shows how important the truth is, and how Habermas completely, put that into perspective. The truth isn't something you hide or tell selectively for your own gain. That's not in the good of the public, but it might be good for you personally as a strategy for getting what you want. But in other news, for the sake of the people, which this is a people-oriented business, home care assistants, things like that, the truth has to be told on all parties to make it successful, just like Habermas says very often in his works. In the future, I would just personally encourage more communication basically through phones, through emails, through a tablet, whatever would work best for my client, since I know that this specific client was hearing impaired. Sometimes they have, a thing on their phone to where they can read what the other person is saying, so that does make communication a little bit more difficult. But just keeping in mind that, my shifts do take a lot of my time, a lot of my gas, and communicating with my office so that way they can communicate with me is, the way to go, so to speak. Just keeping things a little more organized. Like, I would suggest putting up a schedule of, when I'm going to be there, what hours I'm going to be there. That would be very, very helpful. And also keeping Habermas's sort of communications in mind, knowing that the truth is the most important thing, and communication intertwined with the truth, with, the betterment of everyone involved, so to speak. That's what's most important. This is an industry that is not one person gaining everything. This is multiple people gaining things in order to keep a client safe, healthy, happy, so to speak. But in order to do that, we have to know when to be there and when to not be there. So stressing that is also a very important suggestion I would make. Understanding that, this takes time, money, and effort. It's not just something that I can walk across the street and go to them when they need it. It's very important to keep, the needs and the, efforts of everyone involved. That's what I think is the most important. And that about wraps it up. That was, one of the very few mishaps that I've had at work recently with strategic communication involved, and how I would suggest using Habermas's theories and things like that in mind in the future to correct and prevent things like that from happening. So overall, that was my oral presentation, and I hope you like it, and I hope that you took something from it. Thank you very much. I'll see you later. Bye.